Hey everybody, welcome back. So, I don't know if you guys saw a short that I did the other day where tomato hornworms have started to appear, and unfortunately they ate one hornworm ate all of the green leaf or green foliage that was on one of my potato plants. So, it did not rebound. So, I'm gonna today try to harvest what's in the soil, if there's anything, because it hasn't been enough days for a proper potato harvest, but we shall see. And I've got my kids that are going to help me because harvesting potatoes is fun, sort of like an Easter egg hunt. So, all right, so let's see if we get anything. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and dump that out. Oh, hey, look at the strawberries.
The biggest
Well, strawberry harvest. Yay.
You want me to just completely dump it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh.
That's a big potato. Right
Whoa, we did get a potato. Cool. At least we got at least we got one.
Yeah.
Babe, watch out the way, baby. You don't want to get dirt in your hair. Watch out the way. All right.
Yeah, that's all.
That's it. Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Okay. Is that it? Just one? There's
Yes.
some
A
more.
singular potato.
Digging time, digging time, it's digging time. Here we have, oh, it's the smallest little potato. Digging time, digging time. This one, digging
Here,
time.
put them right there.
Digging time, digging
No, you just
time.
passed one, Jade, I think. So, yeah, like I said, it wasn't supposed to be harvest time for these potatoes.
But
That's
it was.
why we got just a handful.
Those
But
are some nice looking potatoes.
they do look good, and oh well. It happens sometimes. You gotta take the good with the bad. So we have another bag of potatoes that it's not looking too promising. It's not looking too promising as far as the foliage. So let's dump that one out as well. I don't even know what variety that last one was.
This.
I made a stick on that one. Okay, this one was a store-bought Redskin potato. As you guys can see, the foliage is not doing well. Unfortunately, a lot of my potato plants are looking like that this year. And I have some theories, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But for now, let's see if we got any Redskin potatoes. Watch out the way, Jason. Has anybody else that uses Black Cow been getting little bits of plastic in your compost? I've noticed that this year, and I never noticed it before. All right, so that's that little tiny red skin potato harvest. Once again, six and a half tiny little potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It was a very unsuccessful potato harvest, but a very successful.
Potatoes.
Yeah, but it was an unsuccessful potato harvest, but a very successful strawberry harvest.
All right, so we're gonna bag this soil back up. Okay, so we have an Adirondack blue that has also succumbed to whatever is eating up my potato plants. And so we're gonna harvest that one early as well.
Alright, let's get this.
This way, there you go.
Drats. Drats, foiled again.
That is the saddest little harvest. 20-gallon bag.
Got like,
Wah-wah.
man.
Oh, that's okay. We have enough for dinner tonight, so they're good in it, I guess. Because there are people in the world who don't have dinner tonight. All right, so that is the small harvest from the Adirondack Blue. So we'll put them together and see what we've got. We got this tiny little children's Easter basket full of potatoes. So if I cut them just right, they should feed the 4 of us, but it's not very much. Oh well, at least we got them harvested before the rain came and made it a mess. So Jason and I are going to clean this up a bit, and then we'll harvest our very first elephant garlic and a few onions. So that will be more interesting. Stay tuned for that. So, a few thoughts about what might be going on with the bags of potatoes. I have been hearing some rumblings on the internet about substances being sprayed on crops, and those substances ending up in our straw and our bagged soil. And because I don't know the specifics or the science behind what is allegedly going on, I'm not going to say that that's what's happening to my potatoes. But that is one theory that's rolling around in my mind. The other is the flea beetle issue that I have going on this year. This year I have flea beetles like I have never had before. In any growing climate that I've lived in, I haven't had flea beetles like I have had this year. Last year was my first year growing in North Carolina Zone 8A, and the biggest issue that I had were squash bugs, squash vine borers, and tomato hornworms. But I didn't have as big an issue with slugs, snails, and flea beetles. One of the biggest things that I am attributing that to is the lack of marigolds in my garden this year. Last year I had marigolds and they grew out of control. They took over my garden beds and otherwise were a large nuisance, besides the fact that I strongly dislike the smell of marigolds. So I was like, I am not putting marigolds in the garden this year. They didn't deter any bugs last year. Well, come to find out they did. So that is one thing that I am noticing. It was also my first year for growing potatoes last year. First time ever growing potatoes. I never grew them in any other climate. And they were the easiest, most hands-off crop of them all. And this year they just don't look good at all. They are yellowing, they have holes, there is blight on some of them. So I'm going to give the other bags a little more time. I've pulled back tremendously on watering. Can't help when it rains. When it rains, it rains. But additional water from me, I've pulled back a lot. And when I do have to water, just making sure that I'm watering at the soil level. I also put down some straw in order to prevent any splashback of soil onto the foliage, so that I could kind of minimize any soil-borne illnesses. So that's kind of where we are with the potatoes. You guys saw how many bags of potatoes I did this year, so it is a little heartbreaking that we're having trouble, but you know, we'll get through it, and they may turn around. If they do turn around, then that will indicate that it was more about the watering and any splashback from the soil. And if they don't turn around, then I'm leaning more towards the soil. Another test that I'm going to do, a little impromptu kind of experiment, is some of the dirt that the kids and I just poured out from those bags, I put back into a bag. I'm going to amend that bag and then plant one of these tomato plants that I got from pruning. So I've got a lot of little rogue tomato plants around here that I have from pruning, or an accidental clip here and a clip and a tuck from some of these tomato plants, and whoops, maybe cut off one that I didn't expect to, or just a really big sucker that got past me. So I'm going to go ahead and plant one of those. One that's already established, it's taken root in soil and it's doing well. I'm going to plant one of those in one of those 15-gallon grow bag. I'm going to put it in one of these 10-gallon grow bags, and I know that tomatoes will do perfectly fine in a 10-gallon grow bag. I've done it before. It's not an issue. So that's going to be kind of a little experiment to see if there is something innate in the soil, because you know, tomatoes are pretty hardy. You know, they have their issues and they can be finicky with disease and things like that. But we'll know right away if the tomato is dying because of something in the soil. It'll tell us. So that is going to be it for today. I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed our potato harvest, and we will see you next time. Happy gardening. Bye.